We have on our air Lisa Lanier, our official attorney. She does a segment every week called Lawyer Up. Fascinating cases today. We're going to get to the woman who was kicked off the plane simply because she has a nut allergy. But first, a little Kenny Rogers news. And you know I'm a fan. So we're going to have Lisa on that. Hello, Lisa. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. I hope you guys are.
Doing very well, thank you.
Lisa, do you have a favorite Kenny Rogers song?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Ruby, for sure.
Oh, Ruby.
Don't take your luck. Yeah.
That Huzzy?
Oh, I'm going to get that one for
Yeah.
you. You know what Ruby did?
Yeah.
Ruby
She
was...
took her love to town.
She went to town, didn't
She
she?
sure did. And her...
Took her love with her.
Yeah, and her husband was all at home.
He's at home, injured.
Paralyzed. Yeah, that's a good one.
Paralyzed from the war. Yeah.
You know, not a lot of people say Ruby. That's a good one. I like that. I like that one very much. Oh, we don't have it.
Look under
Well.
the the Ruby.
Look under H
Hey,
for
what?
Huzzy.
Don't look at me.
Boys.
You should have anticipated.
I was going to say, how am I supposed to know?
You should have anticipated.
You
that-
never mentioned Ruby.
Don't get defensive.
Are you going to sit here and say that I've never mentioned Ruby?
No, because you only mentioned your favorites.
Coward of the County.
Yes.
Lucille.
Yes.
The Gambler.
Islands in the Stream.
Islands in the Stream.
Caught you listening to that too many times.
Well,
I hate to do this in front of Lisa.
I'm sorry, Lisa.
That Sheena Easton song.
I apologize. Oh,
I'll make sure Ruby's in there by the end so you can play her out with it.
Yeah.
you.
He lost me at Islands in the Stream, though. That just went in the wrong direction.
I'm afraid this session is over.
We're going to seek other counsel.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to seek outside counsel on this, Lisa. What are
I know you love it. I know you
talking
love
about?
it.
How can you say something like that? Are you trying to just hurt me? Are you just trying to hurt me?
Yeah,
Is that what you're-
I'm just picking on you this morning.
Oh my God! He lost you at Islands in the Stream. That's
Which are you
Yeah.
saying you don't like anything off the soundtrack from Stroker Ace?
good God! Oh my God! Okay, well here's the
Okay.
story. We're gonna play you out with Ruby because Biggie
Yeah.
is going to get Ruby for you here.
Thank you,
At the-
Big.
At the very end, we'll get. He should have already had it. The whole catalog.
The library should be in there.
The whole library should be in there. We don't have it. Okay, here's why we bring up the late great Kenny Rogers. One of his longtime friends, his name is Kelly Junkerman, who was an employee of Rogers for many years, and they were friends for many years, asked Kenny if he could record and put on DVD Kenny's last concert. If you remember, Kenny went out, he did one where this is the last time I'm doing it. It's called The Gambler's Last Deal. And Kenny Rogers said yes, but according to Kenny's family, he did say to this guy, you can do it, but you can never sell it. Like, you can do it to have it for your own personal use and for me after it's done. So Kenny's last concert was a few years before he died. Now this guy is releasing and selling Kenny Rogers, The Gambler's Last Deal, and his estate, Rogers' estate, is saying, no, you don't. Kenny never gave approval of this. You don't have the proper paperwork, and you're not to sell these. The guy is still selling them and trying to put them out. What do you think about this, Lisa? Who's going to win this? Does he have to have something in writing saying that he can sell it?
Yeah, well, so Kenny Rogers' estate is winning this. They actually have, so far, they've been able to get a temporary restraining order to prevent the release of the DVD, and now they're going for damages and a permanent injunction, which I think they will win because Kenny did put it in writing and verbally, like, you can film me. And this guy was an employee, too. He wasn't just a longtime friend, but he was an employee. So he was doing that for Kenny, essentially. And he said, like, yes, you can film me. We're just going to use it in-house here because simultaneously, Kenny was working with a professional team to do a farewell tour biography.
Mm-hmm.
So he was already at the same time doing his own thing. So here, where this is Kenny allowing himself to be videoed like this with clear restrictions and not wanting it disseminated, his estate then inherits the rights that he would have had to, use his image for financial gain. And so this guy's going to lose. I mean, he's just going to lose.
Okay, that's it. Said and done. And also, to me, he's taking a real chance here because now he is angering Kenny's estate, and he was friends and an employee for such a long time. Saw those dollar signs, though, didn't he?
Yeah, let Kenny rest.
Let Kenny rest in peace.
Have they released? Is the family, Lisa, still working on the official final tour?
They
Video?
didn't say in any of the articles I read, but it sounds like they probably will still release that because that's part of what they're talking about here in their terms of their damages. They're saying, look, our product will be damaged if he's allowed to release this.
Okay.
So I think they probably are. It's probably forthcoming.
That does make sense. 'Cause other than that, I mean, why would you record something and not release it?
I know.
I mean,
Yeah.
just for the family to
Yeah.
watch? I don't.
Well,
That seems odd.
that's what Kenny told him. Was this is just for personal use, or that does seem
For the
strange.
hee-haw honeys to
Or
watch.
if they're, if they're good friends, if they're good friends and this is their last tour, I could see it.
Did you?
Yeah, I guess.
Now I like the Hee Haw Honeys.
He was married to one of them.
I know he was for a long
Which
time.
one?
I forget her name. She always sat in that swing.
Is that Linda Thompson?
I don't
Yeah.
know the names. Is that right, Lisa? My mother used to always say,
I think that's right.
when we would watch Hee Haw, my mother would say, "That's Kenny Rogers' wife," and
She dated Elvis.
She was gorgeous. She's absolutely. She'd sit in
think.
that swing and swing. Oh man,
The big hat.
Yeah.
yeah, the big
The
hat.
Southern Belle.
Pretty good show. Hee Haw.
It had its moments.
Pretty good show.
I guess we don't have that theme, do we, Biggie?
Biggie, you should have
Oh, I'm
anticipated.
sure we have hee-haw. As much as you three have gone on about it. Please.
You should have anticipated us needing Hee Haw, and then we would.
I'm
have.
sure we have that.
Yeah, exactly. What Biggie's? I'm sure he's going to have Ruby though, right?
He's going to have Ruby.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to have Ruby.
Oh,
Pretty
yeah,
well.
Ruby.
Don't worry. He's working
Trust
on
me,
it.
hee-haw's in there.
He's working on
How I
it.
feel most days.
If it's not in there, it's out here.
Okay. We move now.
yeah.
You wanted to say something else, Lisa, on this case.
I love Ruby so much. You don't know this about me, but my sofa in my living room is named after that song. Her name is Ruby.
You have
And
is
You name your sofa?
is it a ruby red sofa?
yeah,
Lisa.
it is. It's a red leather. It's a red leather sectional.
Well, good.
And I'll
gracious.
say, let's go sit on Ruby and watch the Olympics.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Wow. That's pretty sweet.
You and I have a lot more in common than I thought. We're both big lawyers, and we both love Kenny
Sectionals.
Rogers. Sectionals.
There you go.
And Kenny Rogers. Man, we have a lot that we have going for us together. Why don't we socialize more? Why aren't we out more?
I don't know. You need to come sit on Ruby with
I
me
would
and have
love
a
to.
cocktail.
I would love to.
If he doesn't, I will.
That would, that'd be nice. Dave, what are you doing here?
I've been here the whole time.
He's in one of the other sections over here. A British woman, and we've talked about this a couple of times now, 26 years old. She was flying from London to New York. She's in Heathrow Airport on American Airlines, and she went up to the folks at the gate and said, "Look, I have a severe nut allergy. You cannot serve nuts on this flight because it's so bad that even though if I'm in coach, no matter where the nuts are, I can get sick and go into anaphylactic shock." They told her, essentially, and this is Chris Demm's word now, tough tit.
They said, I think, look, your boyfriend knows how to jab you with your EpiPen, right?
Yeah.
So,
And she did this before the flight.
yes,
Yeah,
but
Right.
not months before.
But was told
that's the-
contractually they have to serve.
Yeah, right before, as she was getting on. So they told her, "I'm sorry, we're serving warm nuts in
First class gets nuts.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And business class." And she said, "Even in coach, if I get a whiff of these nuts, I'm down. That's it. If I get a whiff of these nuts,
Which nut?
That's it.
These nuts.
That's it." So they wound up arguing about it, and they said, "Well, you just can't fly." So they kicked her off that plane, and she is now saying this was violating her rights. Can she do anything legally to? Can they do that? Can they kick her off
Yeah,
a
they
plane?
can.
They can.
They can. They can because she made it clear that she had such a deadly allergy that she might die in flight. And so she has announced to them that she is at risk of death on their plane. So they are absolutely able to say, actually, no thanks. We'll pass on that.
Really?
Oh, she
Yeah.
made her case too well.
She made her take too well, yeah. So, and it is, a severe allergy is an ADA protected condition, but reasonable accommodation does not require an airline to have absolutely no nuts on the plane at all. American Airlines, they are peanut free because that's the most common nut allergy. They still have those tree nuts up in first class. And like they told her, they're contractually obligated to first and business class. It says that you will get that snack on your contract. And so they can't withhold the snack because then they would have all those people coming after them.
Hey,
Told you it's big peanut.
where are my cashews?
The planters group.
Cashews, right?
Yeah.
Warm cashews.
Right.
But if she had there's an advocacy group for people with these allergies, and what they recommend is that if you contact the airline well in advance, more than 48 hours in advance, lots of airlines will do things like create a buffer zone around you. Now, this lady says that wouldn't matter for her, but and some airlines have gone completely nut-free, but it's not the majority, and they don't have to.
I'm surprised. I thought they had all gone nut-free, honestly. When they started serving me pretzels, that's what I thought had happened. But I don't fly that much. And this is more of a medical question. What do you think about this, Lisa? When we talked about this originally, a lot of people told us, emailed, everybody's wearing masks on planes anyway. If masks can stop COVID, can't they stop peanut allergy? Because she's saying a whiff of it. Wouldn't you think?
You would think. You would think, especially if she had on a really good mask. Now, if she had on like a single layer, I don't know. But certainly if she had on a good mask, I would think.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, that did make some sense to me. Of course, we had a pilot call and said there's 100 years, there's 25 years of peanut dust in those filters.
Yeah, they're 40-year-old planes you're flying on.
That's right.
Makes sense.
That's right.
Can I ask Lisa a loosely based question on airlines? If this people fighting on planes, if there's this ban, do you think that would get that could be a law, or is it would
legal
that
to ban everybody?
Yeah, fighting and getting kicked off.
Well, now these two now would be. This is, I believe, it was a Delta that is saying we want.
This would fall under that,
right? This would fall because they're saying that if you're unruly on an airline and you're kicked off, then you never get to fly again. You're on a no-fly list. Do you
across the industry?
That's it. And do you think that would hold up, at least for American domestic airlines?
Right.
Do you
think so? I think it would, because like restaurants and stuff. If you, or like Disney can say to you, hey, you were unruly in the park, you're never coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see why they couldn't communicate that to, say, Busch Gardens and say, hey, look, this person's unruly.
Wow.
Why not?
Man, that would really be something, because I think that would cause people to mind their manners more on planes. If you could never fly again.
Maybe never fly strong. Maybe you keep them off for 2 or 5 years.
5 years? Yeah, I was thinking about that. First offense, 5 years, or 2 years, then 5, then forever. Something like that.
I would think that's structured like that.
Could work out pretty well. There is a bizarre lawsuit here, and Biggie's very interested because Biggie is the one of us, as you could imagine, that wears an Apple Watch. He has just recently bought one, loves it. He says, I'm planning on it saving my life one day. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I will be in an Apple commercial.
I cannot wait for you to be in an Apple commercial one of these days.
Neither can I.
911, what's your emergency? I'm in my Jeep. Did you run off the road, sir? No. Are you out of gas?
No. What seems to be the problem?
Someone parked too close to me. And you called Apple?
Yes.
We did notice your breathing.
It called for him. Someone's too close to their line.
Oh, and while I have it, I got the wrong Grubhub last night.
Okay. There is a guy in New Jersey, and he's part of commercial. And we talked about him when this happened. Monmouth County, New Jersey. He's in a park, and his bicycle went over a cliff and down into a creek, and he broke his back. He had terrible injuries.
Broke his legs and his hand, right?
That's right.
His wrist?
Yes.
Yeah, he was messed up.
The Apple Watch, he was unconscious, called 911, gave the location of where he was, saved his life. So it was an amazing thing. We all said it. Apple has turned him into a commercial. Well, he went on a couple of television interviews. This happened 2 or 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. He's been on a few TV interviews, local news, that kind of thing, as you can imagine that this happened. So he missed his 90-day period to file a lawsuit against the park and the county that ran the park. He says there were unsafe conditions on the trails where he was riding, and that's why he went over the cliff in the first place. And he said he didn't get the lawsuit in time. Whatever he needed to file didn't get filed. And he said, well, of course I couldn't file it. I was injured. I was bedridden. There was nothing I could do. I have terrible injuries. They said, well, it didn't stop you from doing those TV interviews, did it?
You were on Inside Edition last night, weren't you?
We saw you.
So he's like, but, and that's well, too bad.
Denied.
If you can get over to the TV station, you can get in here to court.
Squashed.
What are your thoughts there, Lisa? Because so far, they've kept him from...
He's screwed. Yeah, he's screwed. New Jersey has this very strict 90-day statute of limitations on their state tort claim because he was at a state park. He wants to sue the state.
Right.
You got 90 days to do it. There is an exception if you're incapacitated. He tried to argue that, but they said, no, sorry, we saw you on TV. You could call a lawyer if you can, call News 2 or whatever. So
that's right.
That's
he
That's it.
Yeah, he's out of luck, and he's already lost at the trial court level and at the appellate court level, so he's screwed.
Man, brutal. He should have gotten it in on time,
Yeah.
And he really could have. I mean,
That's why you always keep your lawyer on
speed dial right here, of course. She's just sitting on Ruby right now as we speak. We got to go get to her. That's right. That's
Sometimes
it.
I call a lawyer just to call. Make sure the phone number ain't changed. Sometimes they leave town.
Well, that's been your experience. Yeah. Well, you've had a few you've needed over the years, Dave. That's right.
Yeah, that's what they're there for.
Now you've got Lisa.
Like a good neighbor.
Here's a guy that is trying to get his law. He's got an interesting case here. His name, there's a murder trial in Florida. Curtis Reeves, murder trial. Reeves was irked at a movie theater a few years ago because a guy named Chad Olson was looking at his phone while in the theater. Now, that does bother me. And so the light was emanating from the phone during the movie. So this guy, Reeves, got up to tell a manager, this is in Tampa, that Chad Olson was looking at his phone. Nothing was resolved. The guy kept looking at his phone. Eventually, Olson threw popcorn at Reeves. Reeves then pulled out a handgun and fired into his chest, killing him after he threw popcorn at him. Now, here's the legal tactic that the man who shot is taking. He's on trial for murder, and he says, stand your ground. Stand your ground law. Popcorn was thrown at me.
Popcorn was thrown. I was afraid. Right.
Darkened theater. Popcorn right at my face. Lisa, I think he's going to lose this. Would you have played that card of the stand your ground law, which has become so famous in Florida? What are your thoughts?
Well, he has to play that card because it's the only card he has. But let's hope, my goodness. I mean, let's hope you can't just execute somebody for throwing popcorn at you. Because what he's saying is, he's 71 years old. He said, look, he's a retired cop. He said, look, I'm old. This guy was young. I was afraid. And, that threat of bodily harm justifies this. That's what he's saying. I don't buy it. Although, in Florida, it just keeps getting easier and easier to shoot somebody. Basically in 2017, they actually made it even easier. They put they shifted the burden in a new law onto the prosecutor in situations like this to basically prove that stand your ground doesn't apply rather than shift the normal burden, which is on the defendant. But that doesn't apply to him because his was before that. He's on trial. And the other thing that has come forward since he originally entered this plea is the movie theater finally released the video footage of the incident. And it basically shows that the victim was not threatening him. And so I think he's in really big trouble now.
If the victim had gotten up, thrown the popcorn really hard, and then come over at him like with his fists up, would that have justified?
Right.
That would have justified.
I think it would have made a difference. Yeah, if he would have done something, hit him, which is what the guy, the shooter, he said originally. He said, "Oh, I think he hit me. I think he hit me or something, or threw his phone at me, or he said." But he couldn't. He was sort of like, "I think he did. I don't remember for sure," which doesn't get you there anyway. And then the videotape came forward and showed the guy didn't do any of that.
Well, everything you do in the theater is on tape. I mean, it is recorded.
I miss theaters. Sorry. Maybe I'm taking the wrong angle on this story.
As an aside, he misses theaters. But we heard some European theater owners say, we're seeing what you're doing in there when you're doing your sex stuff. When you do the popcorn trick.
We're going back and looking at the tapes.
Okay, we're doing all that. We're watching you do all that.
Over and over.
We know
we're watching.
what you're doing. That's exactly right. So it happens. Lisa, we've got a little something for you now. But this is credit to Biggie.
Ruby, are you
Thank you.
contemplating going out somewhere? The shadow on the wall tells me the sun is going down. Oh, Ruby, don't take your love to town.
Ooh, that's a good one there now. That's a classic.
It's so classic.
That is great. That is great.
He loved the living room.
That's right.
That's where the couch is.
Her husband's like a Vietnam veteran who has been injured in the war, and she takes her love out to town.
Not Lisa.
Right.
No, not Lisa. No, not Lisa. No.
Some deep meaning in that song.
Biggie, your thoughts on Ruby?
Yeah, it's so good.
All right.
Don't mind it.
There it is. Lisa Lanier, as always, you're fantastic on these legal cases. It's great to talk to you. Have a good weekend.
You too. Have a great weekend.
Don't take your love to town now.
Hey to Ruby.
All right. Hey to Ruby.
For God's sake, turn around.
There she goes. Lisa Lanier, our official attorney of this program.